my name is Vazaskia Crockrell. I'm the Director of Equity and Social Justice here at the Metropolitan King County Council. Welcome to the show, a show where we spotlight community solutions that responds to equity and social justice issues. Today, we will be spotlighting a partnership between a community-based organization, Community Passageways, and the University of Washington's Family Integrated Transition Program. Together, they've created a program called CP Fit and produced a video that highlights the partnership and success of the program. And here with me today to talk about the program and video are Dr. Eric Truppen, Professor of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at the University of Washington, Dominic Davis, Founder and CEO of Community Passageways, and Briante Thomas and Stacy Dawkins, two youth that have been participants in the program. But let me start with you, Dr. Truppen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Vazaskia.
As executive producer of the documentary, The Community is the Answer, please share with us what was the motivation behind the development of CP Fit's partnership and what we're about to watch.
Dom Davis and I have had many conversations over the course of years. I talking about evidence-based practices, things that have been demonstrated to be effective in improving outcomes for youth who are involved in the justice system, and Dom saying, well, I may have evidence, but my life experience is that many of the youth, particularly Black and brown youth, don't experience the same outcomes as other youth. And is there a way in which we could develop a partnership where we use the wisdom and the intensity and the passion of community people who have life experience working with youth, life experience in the justice system, and could we partner together and develop a program that utilizes some of the strategies that have been developed in universities and tie them together with the expertise and the capacity and the passion of the credible people who have had life experience. So we talked about it again and again, and Dom challenging me about this. Could we actually do this? Do I have the courage to work in the context of the community? And we were really fortunate to come together and be able to get a grant from Best Starts for Kids with the idea of demonstrating, could we take some of these evidence-based practices and tie them together with community strategies and the skills of community members, and see if we could actually improve outcomes and engage families and communities in a more effective way to really bring about true outcomes, long-term outcomes. And that's what Community Passageways, Family Integrated Transitions is all about, the tying together of community providers, not MSWs, not social workers, not psychologists, but people who have life experience similar to the youth who have been ensnared in the justice system, and tie them together with and enhance their skills with some of these evidence-based approaches. And that's what we did.
Well, thank you, Dr. Truppen. Now, let's watch the video.
Now everybody wanna live fast and die young, but fast money gone just as fast as it come. I just wanna change the world forever. No lie, I wanna bring the world together. Now everybody wanna live fast and die young, but fast money gone just as fast as it come. I just wanna change the world forever. But I feel disconnected, I feel disrespected, overlooked, undermined, or just neglected. See, I hate how we lost, hard-headed or just reckless, and went from being lynched to dying for necklace. When will you see that we legends? We gotta change the perspective, we gotta rise and keep stepping. We gotta reframe the message and be encouraged by the gifts that God gave us. Picture perfect till society frames us.
when you have young people growing up in situations where their parents have been traumatized and their grandparents have been traumatized. So you get stuck in a certain way of thinking and operating out of survival mode. And when you're operating out of survival mode, everything is traumatizing, right? You're seeing violence, you're seeing drugs, you're seeing people self-medicate with drugs, you're seeing people go out and commit crimes to try to survive. And so when this young person is raised that way in that environment, then that's what they know.
We're talking about broken homes, broken families, poverty, no parents in the home, no guidance, no love, abuse, sexual, mental, physical. This is the result of what's going on out here in the streets. And that's everywhere. Kids are angry, and then you have kids competing with each other. When you don't have an out on how to deal with your trauma, you're gonna hurt people. Hurt people, hurt people. And you got a lot of hurt people that's out here hurting people and don't even know why. They might think it's for gang territory or drug territory or something, but it's way, way deeper.
Could you imagine the frustration you feel on a daily basis when everywhere you go, even from your home and the trauma and stress you have in your home to going out into community, and everywhere you go, you're being looked at as somebody that is a potential criminal or somebody that might do harm or just looked down upon constantly? Or kids are going to school being treated unfairly, or kids fall into the system, they're treated unfairly. And you know what's so crazy about it is we take it out on each other. Why am I thinking that the black guy next to me is the person that's the biggest threat to me? That doesn't run anything or own anything or doesn't have anything to do with any systems that oppresses me or suppresses me. Because I've been brainwashed into believing those are the bad guys. So now me, with my self-hate, because I've been taught to hate myself as a black person because black is negative, it's easy for me to shoot you, fight you, be angry at you and take my anger out on you because you look like me. And I'm hating myself.
When I was a little younger, I had influences in the community. You know, I'd look up and be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. You know, everyone's doing all this cool stuff, but I didn't realize how wrong all this cool stuff was. And it hit me as soon as I was able to understand that this is not right when it was a little too late. And I started messing myself up.
I only used to come to school to go to counseling because my principal told me that she was gonna get me kicked out of school by the end of the year. My math teachers told me, like, get out of my class, I'm not teaching you today.
You feel all the hope just got sucked out of you and you have nothing there.
I can only say what I see and I can say what I feel. And I feel the world's replacing the real with that shit that get us lost and get killed. And get us lost and change the world forever. No lie, I wanna bring the world together. Now everybody wanna live fast and die young, but fast money gone just as fast as it come. I just wanna change the world forever.
Many of these young people bring along a whole host of mental health, psychological, social emotional challenges that unless they're addressed and unless their parents or guardians learn more effective ways of addressing them, they persist.
A lot of parents are so preoccupied with their own lives because they're just getting their lives together and been through traumas and stuff that they really don't have time for the kids.
You gotta dig into family history, find out what's going on in the family. It starts at home. Everything starts at home.
There's a lot of gang violence, and then living out in Seattle, there's all these shootings, and then somebody's getting shot, and that's making people's nerves get bad, and they just hold it in and just let it burrow, and then it just all pops off at the wrong time.
That's all we surrounded around is violence. The neighborhood, in the house, there's violence everywhere. You turn on the TV, it's violence.
We have breaking news of another shooting in downtown Seattle.
Just outside the Rainier Beach Community Center, the Seattle Fire Department tells us an 18-year-old man was shot.
What we know is that some sort of shooting played out at the McDonald's here.
Stuck in my ways. Stuck in my ways. Stuck in my ways. I've been known, I'm chosen, I'm stuck in my ways.
In our country, because of discrimination and historic disproportionate emphasis on identifying minority young people as troublemakers, as people who misbehave, who are more likely to get into trouble. When they make mistakes, they're criminalized rather than redirected. So where many sort of circumstances have really created a group of young people who are more at risk of getting involved in the juvenile justice system.
Now you're dealing with people that are trying to find their way because their fathers have usually been taken away from them one way or another, either left or been to the penitentiary or is out here in the streets doing his thing, and there's really not a relationship with the father. So then the young man will go out and want to step into some kind of manhood, and he hooks up with other brothers that are looking for their manhood, and now all of a sudden, hence you got young brothers running around together doing dirt together because you got a bunch of traumatized young people that have been systematically put in this position. Now what you do is this kid falls into the system. They'll end up in the criminal justice system. And then you have white guards, white judges, white prosecutors, white defense attorneys. Then they come out of the system, then they got the social services, the probation officers, and they're all white. So now this kid is going through this whole process of dealing with trauma, is not seeing itself at all through all these systems.
The worst that we have to sort of inflict on young people in terms of punishment or deterrent is nothing compared to what they deal with on a daily basis. If you're like walking out of your house and you feel like your life is at risk every moment that you walk out of your house, being in detention probably isn't that big of a deal. Criminal justice involvement is both a cause and a symptom of racism in our communities. People who are caught up in the criminal justice system are a result of inequities and racism.
We've learned over the last 20 to 30 years that you can cause more harm, you can make your community less safe by being more draconian.
A trained animal at a zoo, like a lion, stays in its cage. It paces back and forth until the cage is open when it pounces. Once it pounces, it gets put back in the cage on higher security. It keeps doing that until it dies because you keep putting it back in the same situation instead of teaching it better ways to become better and not have to feel like it needs to attack, but to feel like it can walk out and be free and eat and be loved and enjoy life like everyone else.
The criminal justice system has been very detrimental to our community. Young black and brown bodies have been casualties of the criminal justice system for a very, very long time. They say it takes a village to raise a kid. Our village was decimated through the criminal justice system and all kind of other racist institutions, right? Well, we building our own village now through community passageways. And we ain't been able to build our own village, build our own family, and turn these kids around. The answer is not in the system. The answer is in the community. The community needs the resources and the support. The best people for the job to really break this cycle is the people that have been through the cycle and knows how and understands how it operates and knows what our young people need. And we use the same people that have been through the systems, have been through these streets, that have had to hustle and had to live in survival mode and have turned their lives around and started doing different things in their life that were more positive. We take them and put them in a position to go back into the same communities and work with those kids to keep them from going down the track. Those are the experts.
But this cycle gon' repeat itself. If I don't see it, I need some help. I need to be broken, cause I'm a broken leader.
We suffered a lot of abuse because my stepfather was an alcoholic, so I ran away from home 13 times and slept out in the streets. After my mom died, I started doing drugs, smoking marijuana, drinking, hanging out with the crowd. And at 21 years old, I became addicted to freebase cocaine. I had like an off and on experience with trying to do good and going back to drugs and trying to do good and going back to drugs. building myself up and tearing myself down. I sat in regular prisons, and then you just sit there and the only thing you do is talk about how to commit crime. As I see now, those were the steps that I had to take to get where I'm at today and to do the work that I'm doing. Community passageways is helping me more than it's helping the kids that we work with, because technically I'm going through the same process that they're going in. And I think that's another reason why I'm so passionate about trying to help every kid that I can.
See the cycle gon' repeat itself. If I don't see, I need your help.
My mom basically took us away from our dad because it was very violent. He was a very violent man. She met a young man and he became a predator. He waited till I turned 14 to start messing with me. So I was put in the foster system. They asked my mom, who do you want, your husband or your daughter? She chose her husband. They removed me from the home, put me in the foster system. And at that time, I didn't have nobody. Didn't know nobody here, no family here. I didn't want to be there. I was the only African-American girl there and I felt out of place. So I went to the streets and I lived the street life. And I really didn't get help from the streets. It's just that I felt love being a gang member. I was an ex-gang member, drug dealer. I was doing a lot of things in my teenager years, and I didn't stop until I was 25. I didn't want to live my life like that anymore. And at that time, I said I wanted to be a counselor. I wanted to be able to help kids because I didn't get the help. I got a good heart, and I want to give back to the community. That's why I do the work that I do. Because I'm still healing. I didn't realize I was still hurting. I thought I was over my pain. But doing this work is helping me understand that my mom was going through something herself. So I'm trying to help these kids understand that their parents might be going through something and don't even know no better themselves, because you don't know what they went through growing up. But I'm asking God to remove the pain. And so with me working with kids and being with them and seeing what they're going through, all I can think about is other people got things going on in their life themselves. So it's not about me. It's about the kids. But by me helping them, it's helping me be stronger. And that's what I'm doing.
So I had my daughter at 16. I was married at 18, divorced at 21. Had my, between 21 and 22, I had 2 more children. And I was survival of the fittest. I've sold drugs, I've worked jobs, and throughout my journey in life, I stuffed a lot of my issues, abusive issues, and I just put my best face on and took care of everyone else at the expense of myself. As in African-American families, black and brown families, we really don't talk about abuse, sexual, mental, physical abuse. You kind of just put your strong face on and you just press through and just move forward. And June 15, 1998, there was an explosion and my life came crumbling down before me. And I ended up in a domestic situation. It was at that moment when I pulled out that gun and pulled the trigger. I didn't consider anything. No one knew that I was broken on the inside. They missed the brokenness.
My problem, my drama, my issue, my trauma, it started at home. They trauma that they probably dealing with, their mom is not there, she on drugs, they acting out and don't know how to really ask for help. So you have to reach out and just have a one-on-one and talk to them and let them know that you're here for them so they can have someone they could trust.
Yes, this is what we are, baby. That's what I'm like.
Oh, so you want to bond with me?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to bond?
We have interventions that have actually deferred or diverted young people from juvenile justice, but we're never going to get to scale if we only use professionally trained individuals to implement these. how you're supportive of the family, how you're willing to roll with what the family is experiencing, which a lot of mental health professionals are not willing to do. Could we take what we've developed, could we take some of those skills and engage community advocates where they take their almost inherent capacity to engage and to relate to young people and families and align with them some of these skills around how do you actually change behavior, and how do you teach parenting skills, and how do you have a young person who's experienced trauma learn a different way of addressing the distress they feel from trauma? How do you help young people who are naturally, as adolescents, learn to regulate their emotions more effectively? How could we take the capacity of the community advocates who are naturally engaging to these young people by their life stories, often having been involved in prison or jail in their lives? How can we take their life stories of success, of moving from that circumstance, and align them with some of these skills?
And the purpose of the meeting today is just go over some scenarios which trigger them.
So then a month or 2 months later, this charge came up. And when this charge came up, she flipped out on everybody at school, so I had to go up to the school.
We need to set up something with her probation officer. We need to set up something with the defense attorney. We need to all sit down as all systems folks and do a wraparound service meeting and have a wraparound service meeting about her, without her in the room, without her dad in the room, come up with a game plan, and then figure out how we're gonna, and then we pull both of them into the room with our game plan already set together as a group of wraparound services, and then say that, and we want the dad to follow something, we want the daughter to follow something, we need to put both of them on a regimen, you know what I mean, on how we're gonna operate in conjunction with each other.
I've been working with her and her mom on their...
The people that have lived life experiences are the experts. I got people that have lived it and have had to struggle through it and had to survive through it and then come out of it. We take those people, we take them through training. We work with University of Washington. The training that they get there, we just mold it in with the live life experiences of their life training. CP Fit puts us in a position to purposely set out to go into the homes, work with the parents and guardians, work with that kid's whole surrounding in that home environment, right? And help those parents. The training we've been going through at University of Washington to learn more about the brain science, that was awesome because it's stuff that we didn't know, how trauma affects the brain, how to de-escalate situations and how to accept situations. And now what it does is give us the science behind it and the understanding of what we actually been doing in our own culturally relevant way. Puts more tools in our toolbox. Now we have a clearer understanding of what we've been doing, and we can do it at another level, so it just makes us more powerful in the work we do.
We did a 13-week training with a book about this thick. Dr. Troopin was training us how to restructure families and teaching us the language. I was working and doing this course and working with the kids at the same time. It was grueling, but I learned a lot. Now I'm going into people's homes and helping restructure families. I'm in the courts, and all the judges know me, all the attorneys know me, the POs know me. At RJC, detention, King County Court, and I'm working with all these people. I'm working with adults, I'm working with young adults, I'm working with kids from 13 to 18, and it's incredible.
I'm trying to help them out and make sure they understand that it is a different way and a different outcome. They didn't understand it at first. It takes a while, you know, because if you've been on a pattern and that pattern was negative, it's going to take a minute before you understand where I'm coming from or using the words that we use to get them to understand and know the meaning of it, behind it.
We're credible messengers. We've been through the storm and the rain. I've been through everything that any kid could ever imagine to go through. You can model everything that you do off of me. When they initially meet me and they see the way I'm dressed or whatever, they think, oh, here's another counselor. Here's another caseworker. And I tell them, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a caseworker. I'm a bigger version of you, and I have the solution to your problem. I know where you're gonna end up if you choose to keep doing wrong, and I know where you're gonna end up if you choose to do right, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum. say, Dominique? I had to straighten out so you could straighten out.
Working with Keith, for me, the experience has been very uplifting. He's opened me to a lot of new ideas that I probably would not have done on my own. When I first found out about that, I was like, okay, maybe this will be easier to build a bond with because we've kind of walked down the same road a little bit, and it feels good to have that because obviously you're understood, and being understood I feel like is a big key to growing. They know how it is down here. You know, you can't come from the suburbs and then come to the slums and then, you know, expect everyone to understand where you're coming from. It just doesn't work like that because you haven't been in the same situation. When you give the youth a sense of hope, instead of putting them in jail, I guess, yeah, the outcome will be way different.
Being that Tora, my mentor, was in the streets, fought, went through traumatic experiences, made me feel relatable to her, which made me feel like I can open up more. But with her, I felt like I'm just a person that went through something that other people go through. She's like the auntie I never had because she's crazy, and she's hilarious, and she's very caring and kind, so. But she'll really get on somebody if she needs to. She's really on me about thinking about what I do before I do it. Nowadays, like, situations have came upon me where I just was like, you know what, it's not even worth it, let me just leave. And that's what she's been teaching me. That's what everything I've been going through has been teaching me. Like, it was like a lesson that I needed to rehear.
They don't want someone that just coming to them just with books and words. They want to really know that you understand them and you've been where they've been. So it was like I told them the truth. I had to really be radical. Acceptance about what do I want for my life, what do I want for my kids, what do I want to teach these young people that's out here with no self-direction. We didn't get love in our house. It was always dysfunctional. So for me, I want to just give back and help these kids and tell my story and let them know, you know, I've been there, done that, and look where I'm at now. Really, my self-care is not really dealing with myself, but it's really looking out for others.
Me, I've dealt with racism with all colors all my life, not just black, but black and white.
I just want to give kids space to talk about deep-rooted issues and things that they normally would not have space to talk about. And they don't have time to think about because they're consistently in survival mode. You're seeing people get shot and gunshots flying everywhere and things are happening all over the place. And you don't have time to sit back and think about how trauma affected you or what issues you're dealing with and how they affect you emotionally. You're either operating out of love or fear. So we got to start operating out of love instead of fear of each other. These kids come with some of the deepest thoughts, but they have space to do it. They're in a comfortable zone, they get to eat, they sit down, and they're in a safe space. And they really get to tell their truth.
And once you have your mind right and the knowledge that you have, it doesn't matter what people or anyone do to your body. If your mind is free, you're free.
And then and us as elders get to talk to them about our truth. And we have dialogue with each other. And we're building relationship and community with each other. And that's what the circle's all about.
As me coming out of prison in 2012, my whole mindset changed. We spend a lot of time with our kids. We take them to peacemaking healing circles for them to identify that they have trauma, and to help them to identify that they can speak about their trauma.
Yeah, bro, you know, or you can look on Facebook and just be like, dang, bro, he died, and you just see a picture, you know what I'm saying? You be like, dang, bro, I just shook his hand like.
It's already late, it's 8:17, I'm sorry to keep you guys over. Listen, these are the kind of conversations that we need to have in the community. Bringing all different colors together, all different ages together, and having real deep-rooted conversations.
Everybody loves our peacemaking healing circles.
Before, nobody really asked if I needed help. It was either I'm gonna call your mom, you're getting suspended, or I'm gonna call the police, you're not where you're supposed to be, you need to be in a hospital, you need to be locked up behind bars, or even, do you want some weed, do you want some drugs? I'll show you some drugs so it'll make you feel better. This has been more like, you need to get it together or you're going to jail. Or you need to get it together because we are here for you and we love you, even if you're just new. Like, it was more like a welcoming, open arms. You could talk about anything you want to, it's safe. There's more respect here, more respect towards each other. And I was like, wow, everybody here is so cool. They're like trying to help me. I never had that before. I feel good. I feel good about myself, so it makes me feel good about other people.
You ask them, how are you? And you stay around for the answer, regardless of what that answer is or how long you have to stay there. And if I had someone that just took a moment and just helped me navigate through a system that oftentimes ignores you, it makes a difference.
So get you a shirt, get you a dress shirt. If you can't get a dress shirt, we'll go get you one, get you some nice jeans or something. We help them with school. We get them back in school if they're not in school. We help them with getting internships and jobs, where we have a whole consortium of people that work with our organization and that volunteer with our organization.
I've been doing Career Bridge. Soon I'm going to be looking into jobs, but I have to wait for court and I have to figure out what's going to happen with me. And then I plan on doing more work with Urban League and just getting into more of those programs, try to better my knowledge. Eventually I want to go for my bachelor's degree in computer science.
I want to own my own business. I want to have my own nonprofit for homeless in Seattle. I want to be able to look back and see what I used to be and where I came from and just adore how much I've grown.
This is the road that I'm taking. I'm feeling like all of amazing. I'm saying, I'm in the place and I'm staying. I'm focused, don't play with my patience, don't play with my patience.
We're always looking for good kids, good people to work for us. The kinds of folks we're hiring come from all kinds of paths. If you come in with some enthusiasm, I don't worry too much about the past. We recognize that one of our gaps is that we're not offering enough opportunity to kids that are facing racism, facing just obstruction in how to get jobs and access to a well-paying job. I think we all need to be checking our own biases and look for opportunities to say yes to kids, particularly kids of color, that typically the cards are stacked against them. And so what are we doing as business leaders to provide opportunities for kids of color in this community? It's our role to do better. Coaching that they've received is clearly evident in how they're communicating with us as an employer and how we're both working together to bring kids on and help.
Thanks for coming in. I just get mad and everything else goes out the window. Somebody says something to me and I get pissed off and then I get violent.
It's not gonna always be pretty, right? Like, there have certainly been cases that we've worked with Dom where it hasn't quite worked out like we hoped. And what folks like myself in the system and the community have to be prepared for is the invariable criticism that's gonna come with, well, see, you tried something different and look what happened. The kid didn't take advantage of that and they continue to commit crimes. And we just have to be ready to explain that this isn't gonna be perfect.
I would say to those people who say we shouldn't be letting kids run around with ex-cons, is that what is your alternative? Who should be running around with these kids? If the goal is to rehabilitate, as the law requires us to, who do you think is gonna be more effective? Someone who does not want to see the kid, someone who does not want to advocate for the kid, someone who won't hold the kid to account, or is it someone who knows what the kid is going through? Morning, everybody. Please have a seat.
We are here for a disposition today in the matters of Armand Kareem.
Today, I don't know how to feel. It worried me a lot that as full as I am, my son don't bury me and I bury him. I don't see it.
this year, Armand has gotten his head on straight, and he keeps making better and better progress. He's doing well at school. He's working with community passageways, which you no doubt will be hearing a lot more about from Keith.
I've been stressed out for the last 2 months, but his accomplishment has me at ease now. And I'm very proud of this guy. And I'm just waiting to see what else happens for him.
That community mentorship program is so much more than just a friend to talk to. It is a support system that may not have existed and gets to the root cause of some of these things. It keeps folks safe, keeps the kids safe, not just in the short term of the case, but then hopefully in the long term. That's the ideal. They can talk to the kid in a way that someone in a black robe can't necessarily. They can talk to the kid in a way that maybe even the juvenile probation counselor can't. And then you have a mentor who comes and says, this is how I got out of the gang. The mentor is long-term. What I tell a lot of these kids who are lucky enough to have community passageways is that these people are going to be in the community regardless of when you're done with this process. They're going to be here for the long term. This is building community. When they come into the courtroom, it's just a breath of fresh air. It's like bringing the cavalry in. You know that you're going to have trusted, thoughtful, serious community mentors in who have the training to work with these kids. And 9 times out of 10 will build a rapport and trust with these kids and point them in the right direction.
In Armand's case, his slope has started like this, and it's gone like this, and it's gone like this, and it's gone like this without a break in that slope.
That all of you have given him a second chance to make sense out of his own life.
Thank you. I'm happy. I'm crying, I'm happy. To sit here is tears of joy today. Thank you.
If he continues to work with community passageways and engage in the programs that University of Washington is trying to put him through, I believe he will become a successful person.
We need to grow the capacity of organizations like Community Passageways. And so the challenge is really going to be, how do we shrink our current court legal system and somehow transfer those resources to the community. We have truly achieved public safety if you don't need prosecutors to prosecute kids because they're just not committing crimes anymore. I think if we can continue to support community, get further upstream, work more closely with schools, early learning, that's the secret sauce to keep our communities safer.
I think that what we're doing here is, I think, changing what could be a whole pathway in this country, moving us to saying, because adolescents, on the very basis of who they are and how their brains are developed and what we can do, these interventions that we have here, both enhancing their capacity to have support in the community, to be nurtured by someone, and learning some skills to help them regulate their emotions, I'm hoping will be the gold standard as to how we move forward in terms of working with adolescents in the future.
Something is working, and statistics are certainly trending in the right direction. And so we just have to believe that this is a better path and be able to prove it. And that's why it's great to have partnerships with folks like Dr. Troupin at the university, because they know how to prove it and they know how to show the data. And that's what we have to continue to do, is be smart about how we move forward and be strategic about how we do it.
Community partners like Community Passageways are the best answer we have so far.
Has locking people up work? Did it lower crime? Did it deter crime? Are crime rates decreasing? No, they're not. What are our recidivism rates for people that we lock up? 78%. What are the recidivism rates for people that get connected to the community and get a job and get housing? Get hit 13%. What else is there to say?
I feel more happy and comfortable in my skin than I was being told all the time that I was never gonna be anything. I feel better.
We got this. We got it.
They won't know any of this stuff unless we teach it to them, unless we tell it to them, and help them to understand that you can stop this. The thing that happened with your mom and your dad, you can stop this, because if you continue to do what you do, your kids are gonna say the same thing about you. You can stop this, and you can make a change for the generations to come.
I've been a part of cycles of brokenness my entire life. So now I'ma break everything that has been breaking me, my people, my community, the world. Alright. Let me get my zone, y'all. Hey. We gonna get to the truth today, man. For real. Hey. Hey. Look, I think it's sad, but I owe you the truth. I'm in my 30s and we gotta do more for the youth. I know we can only give all the things we consume, so it hurt when I see they got their nose to a spoon. Why follow the rules when you ain't playing that game? Plus your mama and your daddy is both one and the same. How are parents and the children so close in their age that outside looking in, y'all develop the same? I remember when 18 was grown and thinking age was a pass for me to do what I want. Fuck it, I don't wanna go home. Plus me going in the house ain't gon' get me no dough. I got faith in this almighty dollar, and for this got people killed or blindly be let the slaughter go without. Never not to tell me who I be without it. I want it cause everybody got it. So what if that's childish? That's the mindset that is plaguing our people when desires to be on top. Cause I can never say what you need. I can only say what I see, and I can say what I feel. And I feel the world's replacing the real with that shit that get us lost and get killed. That'll get us lost and get killed. I can never say what you need. I can only say what I see, and I can say what I feel. And I feel the world's replacing the real with that shit that get us lost and get killed. That'll get us lost and get killed. No lie, I wanna bring the world together.
Wow, what a powerful video. Dominique Davis. It's obvious that Community Passageways has demonstrated their commitment to supporting youth and young adults at every stage of the criminal legal process with excellent outcomes. With that said, what do you hope the major takeaway from this documentary will be?
Well, what I'm hoping for is for people that are operating in these systems that are able to support programs like mine, in the community with funding and technical assistance and other resources that we need. They can see the humanity, the empathy, the heart, the drive, the desire, and the tirelessness of the work and the way that the community ambassadors operate. Like, you have to understand, this is not a come in 9 to 5 kind of job. You don't come clock in and clock out. There's no clocking out once you start doing this kind of work. And so when you see the video and you see people in tears, you see people holding hands and laughing and hugging, we are a family. We've created a family-like, village-like dynamic with the work that we do, with the tools that we have been able to acquire doing these trainings with UW, Dr. Trupin, and behavioral health, and with the natural tools that we've already acquired through going through our lived life experiences. We've been able to be very effective in this work because we are who we work with. We walk the same streets, we talk the same language, we've had the same barriers and pitfalls, we've had to navigate the same racist institutions that have oppressed us and suppressed us, and put us in these positions of poverty and survival. So we understand. So it's not like we're going out and trying to learn something new or trying to navigate something we don't know. No, we live this. This is what we live, you know? So, yeah, I think watching that video, people need to see and understand that this is one of the hardest jobs you could ever have, honestly. But at the same time, it's one of the most fulfilling, heartfelt jobs. And I would never want to do anything else. And I know the people that work with community passageways, they don't want to do anything else. They couldn't see themselves doing anything else.
They are those credible messengers that you speak about in the video, and what we continue to hear is their lived experiences truly add value to the lives of the children and the community that they serve, and they're in a unique position to give back.
Our work speaks for itself, or our data speaks for itself. And really, I know you have to have data in this kind of world and show your results, but really the data is the living, walking testimonies of the young people that we work with. So what I feel like when you see the kind of outcomes that we get doing this work in collaboration with our partnership with UW, I really want systems folks to see that we need to expand, we need to grow, we need more resources. We need to bring more people on and train them up and put them in positions to go out and help the community and help the young adults that we work with, help the families that we work with. It's a different dynamic when you're able to grab people from the community who normally wouldn't be able to have a living wage job with healthcare package, and then actually be trained on some skills that go back into the same community that you've been struggling through, and then go help lift up that community and bring that community to another level. And at the same time, bring economic strength back into that community by being able to pay these people what they deserve to be paid. So my goal is to build economic power and economic success. These young people have business ideas. These young people want to go to school, college. These young people want to buy real estate. These people are young people with brilliant ideas, but the resources ain't there for them, and they don't see themselves being successful because there's nothing there for them tangible to grab onto and say, hey, this is possible. I have some hope. I have a dream. I have a vision to get here. They don't get that. They don't have that. There's too many doors that have been closed on them.
Absolutely. Thank you. I do have another question for you. Because this program that you have with CP Fit is a partnership with Dr. Trupin, the University of Washington Family Integrated Transition Program, what would you say is the key to successful partnerships with institutions?
I think I'm going to say the main key is, and Dr. Trupin is going to laugh at this, but the main key is that he got behind us. He didn't get in front of us. You know what I'm saying? He didn't come down and say, I got all the answers. I'm going to fix your problems. Come do this and that. And he didn't come in doing that. He just said, I want to support you. I want to support the movement that you guys have built. I want to support the team that you got. I want to support your community. How can I do it? I want to do it the best way I can. I know I have these tools that I want to give you, and I want to help you get the right resources you need. I'm here to support you from behind.
Thank you, Dominique, because that's really, in light of all of the current events around racism and the racial and ethnic disparities with COVID, and as the video says, the community is the answer. It really is an educational opportunity for institutions to learn how to successfully partner with community-based organizations that do have the answers, and to understand leaning in doesn't mean leading, it means partnering. So I appreciate what you do and the value of your lived experience and your advocacy to push community passageways forwards. But now I want to take a moment and talk to two of our youth that are here with us today. Let me start with Stacy Dawkins. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what your CP Fit coach meant to you or provided you and the program as a whole?
Hi, thanks for having me. My coach, Tora, she's like an auntie that I never had. When I first came to Community Passageways, I was like a loose cannon. I didn't have these like social norms that everybody else was set because of different things that's happened in my life story. When I first met Tora, she was in the back of my courtroom just looking at me, just like, hey, and I was just kind of looking at her and like, I don't know you. But she's taken the time to take me to the doctor, to come sit with me at school meetings my parents didn't have, or just little stuff that she never had to do. She came and picked me up to take me to meetings. She just came to take me to go do other things that other mentors and other programs have never even thought about doing. I've called her at like 11 o'clock at night because I just couldn't deal with my day. It's people like that that really make you think like, wow, I have a good support system. Like, wow, I have a team. Wow, it makes you have hope. It makes you want to change for the better. It makes you want to be able to do like the work that Dom does. It makes me want to help others. It makes you want to be able to put my best foot forward so that the whole team can play out a good game. She's really helped me change. She's really made me know that I am loved. I am beautiful. My skin is really, it's gonna take me somewhere. It's gonna make me a creative person. It's gonna make me a successful person. So I really thank Dom and Tora and Dr. Trupin, because he also has a play in this, for helping me see that I am worth something.
Yeah. So, Stacey, I want to stay with you for a moment and ask you, did it make a difference that she had lived experiences? You know, being that.
Yes, of course. Yes, if she hadn't had experience, I don't think we would have gotten as close as we did, because her telling me her story made it very easy for me to open up to her and tell her my story, and kind of shared like some of the same experiences when she was younger, and then kind of see like, oh wow, it does get better, it does change. So that really changed something for me. It really helped me.
Well, Stacey, thank you for sharing your experience, and we're glad to have you today.
Thank
Now
you
I'd
for
like
having
to
me.
talk to Bryante. Hello, Bryante.
Hello, ma'am. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. So I want to ask you the same question. How has having a CP Fit coach and the program help you in your life, and how has it made a difference for you?
I first off want to say is I don't have more of a CP coach. I have like a CP uncle, which is Coach Dom. Coach Dom is like, is so crazy. The man is like a superhero because he's really so involved with our community in the way he cares and tries to benefit our youth and want our youth to come together. It's just so outrageous because most people wouldn't have time for it. Some don't got the nerve for it. Like, he fits all those descriptions. He's able to make it happen. And as I want to say is, like Stacey said, before I thought he passed away, I was wild. I didn't care about life. I felt as if I had something to live for tomorrow. I was just living for the day, you know. And Uncle Don taught me how to realize that there's more to myself than me being in the streets. He made me realize that I had business ownership and I could, learn more about real estate and stocks and stuff. Because like he said, a lot of us want to get into other industries, but we realize we don't have the support, or we're not, just beneficial towards it. But he's the type to help you change your mindset. Like, he helped me change my mindset and my perspective. Since I started this, I've been rising in school, doing much better, which has led me to more opportunities. I have helped my communities in ways I've never thought I would ever. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not a people person. I don't like people like that. But he helped me work on that too. Also, I want to say that I feel as if community pathways benefits the youth in most ways in any organization in the world. If you actually need more community pathways all over.
Thank you, Bryante. And thank you for being here and sharing. Now I'm going to go to Dr. Trupin. I'd like to ask you, what advice would you give to institutions that want to or are considering partnering with community-based organization? What are the things that, the values or principles that you practice that would be beneficial?
Vazaskia, all the evidence about bringing about good outcomes for youth really reside within communities and families. And when communities get pushback about getting resources, the reality of it is that we've been spending our money on things that don't work and undermine the futures of our young people, their families, and their communities. Removing young people from their home, placing them in detention and in juvenile justice settings because they've made mistakes, and thinking that that is going to have an improved outcome really flies in the face of all the evidence. The evidence is with the young people and Dom and the ambassadors and coaches that he works with. We can demonstrate that, in fact,
developing the skills and developing and supporting these programs brings about good outcomes. It has an impact on community safety. It is the way in which we need to go if we're really going to undermine the history that this country has of getting in the way of Black and brown people being masterful and successful, and the impact on young people who make bad decisions as a function of not having opportunities and not having support. So working with universities or systems have to recognize, as Dom points out, that the outsiders need to listen to the voice of the community.
Thank you, Dr. Trupin. And I want to thank Dominique Davis, Bryante Thomas, and Stacy Dawkins for being with us today. For more information, visit this website. And until next time, remember, the community is the answer.